Hi, this is Gabe from FluentForever.com. In this third video, we're going to talk about the vowels of Cantonese. My primary goal here is to get you familiar with the IPA symbols for these vowels, and to give you a rough sense of how they fit in your mouth. Keep in mind throughout this process that the better you learn to hear these sounds, the better you'll be able to keep track of which one is which, and the better you'll produce them. We're going to be talking a bit about tongue placement and lip rounding, so to give you a rough sense of that, try this. Compare e, and a in English, as in seat, set, and sat. You'll notice that your tongue starts up high, e, and goes to the middle of your mouth, and then goes down to a. So your tongue can go up and down. It can also go forward and back. Compare as in bet and as in but. Your tongue goes forward for and then pulls back for bet, but. Last, vowels are affected by the shape of your lips, which can be rounded or unrounded. These lips, for instance, appear to be saying e and oo, but that actually doesn't have to be the case. If you take, for instance, the tongue position of e and round your lips, you'll get u, as in French's rue,
and Cantonese's su.
We'll be using lip rounding, or the lack thereof, to turn familiar English vowels into new Cantonese vowels a few times in this video. Now, if you'd like a much more in-depth discussion about vowel formation, check out some of the videos linked below, but for the beginning, it's about all you're going to need. So let's get to some Cantonese. As before, I have Tim here to help out.
Hi.
We're going to break this discussion up into a few parts. First, we'll talk about 5 relatively familiar-sounding vowels, and then we'll show you how to make 6 new vowels, and finish by discussing a few vowel combinations, known as diphthongs. So to start, 5 of Cantonese's vowels are going to be relatively familiar to English speakers. The greatest challenge is going to be memorizing the IPA symbols.
The first of these is e, as in Cantonese's teen, or yi do, or English's me.
In IPA and in Yuping, you'll see this written as a lowercase I.
Next comes as in Cantonese's te, and English's heck.
This IPA symbol is a rounded curly E, and the vowels are pretty much the same in English and Cantonese. If anything, your tongue goes up just a tad in Cantonese in the direction of E.
So English has heck, and Cantonese heck, heck, heck.
But it is a really slight change, which is why the IPA symbols are the same in both languages, and why you can more or less keep your familiar as and heck without running into big difficulties. Now, we have 3 more familiar vowels before we get to the new stuff.
First off, there's as in Cantonese's sing, sing, or sick, or English's sick. Next, there's as in Cantonese's suk mai long, or English's put and book.
These vowels are basically the same across both languages, though Cantonese uses it in some contexts that English doesn't.
Notably, at the beginning of words like
which is something that English never does. Getting used to that might take some practice, even if the vowel isn't totally new.
The last familiar vowel is u, as in Cantonese's u lei, moon, or English's moon.
The main thing you need to be careful of is that in many dialects of English, we tend to pronounce 2 vowels when we say a word like moon. We start on before we get to moon.
In Cantonese, you'll start and stay on moon.
Now let's chat a bit about 6 vowels that will sound a bit new for English speakers.
We'll begin with Cantonese's long and short a vowels, a and a. We'll start with the long one, a as in fa.
This vowel is similar to English's as in father, but it's a bit more forward in your mouth. You can get a feel for that by comparing the words mock and mac in English. When you say mock, your tongue is low and far back in your mouth. And when you say mac, your tongue moves forward. Mock, mac.
The Cantonese long a vowel is around halfway between those two. So English has mock, a, and mac, a, and Cantonese has a, ma. Now, Cantonese has a short a vowel too. A, as in apa.
This one is shorter, and it's just a touch closer in tongue position to as in father. Your tongue is going to go just a tiny bit further back in your mouth.
So the short one is ma, and the long one is ma. And if you contrasted all of them in the row, you have English's mac, then Cantonese's long ma, then the short ma, and then English is mock, mac, ma, ma, mock.
The difference in tongue position is really subtle, so at first, you should probably focus on the vowel length. It's going to be a lot easier to hear.
In Yuping, you'll see the short a vowel written with one a, and the long a vowel written with two a's. Simple.
The rest of our new vowels involve playing around with lip rounding, generally adding lip rounding to vowels that you don't add it to in English. First, start with the tongue position of E. The E vowel has your tongue all the way up and in the front, E. And then we're going to round our lips without moving our tongues.
So if you take E as in C and round your lips without moving your tongue at all, it should stay all the way in the front as high as it can go. Then you get E, U, as in Su. Comparing these vowels, they're E, U, E, U, Su. In Yuping, this vowel always shows up as a letter combination Y, U, U, Su.
If you start instead with the E vowel, where your tongue is all the way out in the front center position, E, and then round your lips,
you'll get as in G, E, G.
In Yuping, you'll see this vowel written out as O, E, which is basically the same thing you're seeing in the IPA. You can also do this lip rounding thing with the American vowel as in butt or gun.
So start with and keep your tongue still in the back center of your mouth. And round your lips. To compare those vowels directly, English has s as in sun. Cantonese has saw, saw.
This vowel shows up in Yuping as the letter O, and in IPA it shows up as a kind of O with a little opening on the left.
Saw.
Our last rounded vowel is a little bit tricky. We're going to get there using a vowel you already know and a vowel you just learned.
The vowel is as in sung or sut. So to make this vowel, start with the tongue position of O. Your tongue is relatively high in your mouth and all the way back. O. And then we'll compare that to the tongue position of U.
That's that rounded E vowel.
So we have U and O. If you go halfway between and keep your lips rounded the whole time, then you'll land on U, O, sung.
In Yuping, you'll see this written as E, O. And do keep in mind, as you learn to hear this vowel better, it's going to get easier to find that tongue position and lip position. And so that's basically it for the new vowels in Cantonese. The last topic we'll cover are diphthongs, which are combinations of two vowels in Cantonese. Most of these combinations just take two vowels we learned in this video and stick them together.
So for instance, we learned a as in fa and e as in teen. And in Cantonese, you can combine both of these into a new final I as in phai ji.
This is a diphthong, similar to the English diphthong I. The only thing to be careful of is that the English diphthong doesn't take you all the way up to the tongue position of E. You don't say I, you say I.
Cantonese really does go all the way to E. They say I, phai ji.
Cantonese also creates a few diphthongs with its U and U vowels.
So you see things like EU as in deo, which is a combination of e and u, or the trickier o as in 錘仔. This is a combination of and u, o, 錘仔.
Now, earlier I said that most of the combinations just take two vowels we learned and combine them. But two of the diphthongs do something a little differently.
Those diphthongs are O as in do and A as in say.
The initial vowels in both of these cases aren't vowels we covered in this video.
We've talked about O as in saw and E as in te, but neither of those vowels show up in O or A.
There is a pretty easy way to learn both of these new vowels since they only show up in these two diphthongs. We'll learn them by comparing them to the English diphthongs O and A. Let's start with O.
Cantonese has O, and English has O, O, O.
That first vowel is effectively the same in both languages. The main difference here is that Cantonese goes all the way up to oo at the end, where English kind of peters out a bit and only goes up to
O, and English O, O, O.
The story is basically the same with a.
Cantonese has hey, and English has hey, hey, hey.
Same idea. The first vowels are the same in both cases, but at the end, the Cantonese diphthong goes all the way up to e, where the English one stops at I.
Hey, hey.
And so with that, we've covered all of Cantonese's vowels. To review, we began with 5 familiar sounding vowels.
There was E as in Cantonese's teen, then E as in Cantonese's te, and hek.
This vowel had a slightly higher tongue position than English's as in heck.
Then we introduced I as in Cantonese's sing, sing, or sick, and O as in sok, mai, and long. Our last familiar vowel was U as in wu lei.
For this vowel, be careful to stay in one place if your dialect of English uses 2 vowels there. And after those, we covered 6 vowels that were new for English speakers.
First, we had the long A as in fa,
This is a vowel in between as in mock and a as in mac.
a, fa. Then came the short A as in appa.
Compared to its longer sibling, this vowel has a tongue position a little closer to English's vowel as in father.
A, appa.
We then covered 4 rounded vowels,
There was U as in su,
which had the tongue position of E but with rounded lips.
U, su. Then we had as in ge,
Which had the tongue position of but with rounded lips.
ge.
Next came a rounded version of English's vowel.
O as in saw. And last we had as in son or sot.
This one was a bit tricky to find with the tongue position in between O and U.
So there's O, U, and halfway in between. Son, sot.
We then covered Cantonese's diphthongs, which are mostly just any of the vowels with E, U, or U afterwards.
That produces combinations like I as in thai ji, L as in del,
Which is a combination of and U.
or O as in cui zai.
The important thing to remember for these sorts of diphthongs is that the final vowels go all the way up to E, U, or U.
You won't say I, you say I with an E at the end. I. The last thing we covered were the diphthongs O as in do and A as in say.
These diphthongs were extremely similar to English's O and A, but just like the other diphthongs, they were a lot more extreme with their final vowels.
It's do, not do, and it's say and not say.
And with that, we're through with all of the sounds of Cantonese. Our last video will cover a few quirks of the Yutping spelling system.